We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. One conversation at a time. We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. We breaking bread, yeah. One conversation at a time.
The Breaking Bread Village.
One conversation at a time.
The Breaking Bread Village.
One conversation at a time.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm so excited to be back with you guys today. I know I took a little break, just kind of had to do a little reset, just kind of decompress and just kind of be in the moment at that moment. So thank you so much for coming back today with us. And I know a couple days ago we were able to have a special guest on here. All my guests are special. The reason why I say Dr. West is so special is because I followed his work since I was little. So, to be able to speak with him, was really a gift. And I'm just so excited also to speak to our guest today because this is what I talked about with Dr. West in regards to passing the baton, right? Each generation will have our great leaders. And right now, the gentleman that I have on here today is another one of our great leaders of today, and he will continue to be that leader of tomorrow. So I want to go ahead and welcome him on here today, and he can introduce himself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be on today speaking to your guests and just the many amazing people within our world. My name is Jacari Harris. I'm a 24-year-old entrepreneur, life coach, inspirational speaker, and now an author. So yes. I'm delighted to be here and speak with you today.
Awesome. Yes, I think that's so great. And again, like you said, you're 24 years old, you wrote a book, you go around and you speak about your life journey. And it's a very special story to me. And most people that know me know that I was adopted. So when I hear people talk about their stories of, foster care, adoption, what have you, it's really, I don't know. I just like to kind of, exchange stories because people don't understand unless you are in that journey, unless you have that story. They don't understand the true self-discovery that you do have in regards to finding out your beginning, right? So that's why I'm so excited to talk to you because people don't understand that if you don't understand your beginning, kind of where you came from, who you are or who you were at that point, it really has shaped who you became, and people don't understand that. So I want you to share your story. And again, I want you to tell too how you were, the 40 under 40. I want you to talk about that. We'll get to that at the end. But I'll start
off. We got so much to get to, but we're going to do it.
Yes. So go ahead and just tell how this all began, your life began for you. And if you want to start off with how you got to the point of wanting to find out more, however you want to begin, go ahead and begin.
Well, thank you again. So yes, when I was 1 year of age, I entered into the foster care system. My biological mother at the time, she had seven children, with me being the last of the seven. And I was the youngest, and she was just such a substance abuse addict, and just had issues with substance abuse and just drinking and not being able to really take care of the family of my siblings and I. And she had left us with a family friend for a few days, and she never returned. But when they did a search, they found her on the side of the street, drunk and on drugs and just high. So they knew that we wasn't in good care. So they took us away, separated us. And, it's just a journey in foster care and eventually being adopted. And I just think, when I just think about it now, being separated from your siblings, who you first started off with, it can really do damage within someone because you're always with these individuals, your family, your siblings, your brothers and sisters, but then you all split and you go separate ways. But I did have the pleasure of being split with my brother, so we were able to stay in the same foster home. I know the Department of Children and Families, they tried to group us into two. Sometimes they couldn't due to the standards and the precautions and the protocols of the foster home. But my foster mom at the time, who eventually adopted us, she brought my brother in with me. And, she raised us as her own. And just what is so beautiful about her bringing us into her home And sad at the same part is 2 weeks before she had got us, her own biological daughter had a heart attack and passed away. So to know how strong she was to go through this death and burial and planning an entire funeral, and this is her older and only daughter that she has, to 2 weeks later having the strength, the courage, and the mindset to take us in under the conditions that we were in, really realized that how strong and how loving she is as a mother. And she too would not allow the obstacles and the death of her only daughter to take a toll on her so much that she still can be a mother for other children out there. So through those years, she kept my brother and I. And to this date, I know she's like 77 years old. However, what I can say is she's kept over 100 foster youth during her tenure of being a foster mother. And
That's
and to
amazing.
know that she got recognized by the governor in Florida in reference to that, and just her loving and treating us like her own because we were her own. Anyone that was under her house, she loved, she cared, she taught us, she learned with us. And I think my favorite thing about her in the house of learning is learning how to bake cakes, because I am like a entrepreneur when it comes to cakes. I'm always baking cakes and pies and desserts for people, and those are extra additional money. People think, oh, you're just getting paid. For me, it's something that is so tender to me because I learned the process of not only baking the cake but loving things correctly and understanding it takes time to love. It takes time to understand who you are. It takes time to be successful. It takes time to know you can come from the batter and these ingredients and become successful, become this millionaire, become this author, become this, master's degree candidate. So it's a journey. And, when I learned to really mix the ingredients in together and doing it in the correct way and not doing it the way I wanted to, I realized that then the cake will come out and it will rise and it will be moist and it will be beautiful and everyone will want some. But when I was doing it the way I wanted to, like for instance, I would first do the flour, then I do the eggs, then I do the butter, then I think about doing the sugar, then I'll just do things out of order. And I realized that's not the way life is. Life does have its obstacles, but sometimes you have to know who you are and who you are as a person and walk in your purpose in the way that God has ordained it to. So, growing up in foster care, and we can speak about my father, meeting him when I was 13 years old, and
Well, yeah,
getting
yeah, exactly. And so, what I want to know is, that takes a lot to find that self discovery, right? Because I myself am adopted, and I was young enough to not have to go through foster care that way to remember it. Okay, but I have siblings that I found out later, went through some really hard shifts. Now, what's so interesting about that is that when I found that out and I discovered that was their journey, I almost had like what they call survivor's guilt, right? Where I didn't go through that hardship that they went through. So then I felt like I wasn't as worthy, or so it was like this weird complex within myself. And I actually, with some of my siblings that I found, they really didn't want to deal with me after that when they found out I didn't struggle like they did, which was so interesting. So I say all that to say this is that, when you're on this journey of self-discovery, when did you find out that there was purpose for you? Because I know for me, being adopted and knowing that I was given away and my mother didn't want me, it was a lot of things with abandonment issues and dealing with different things of not feeling like you belonged. So for you, when did you find out like, okay, I have a purpose, I'm purpose. This happened for a reason, because I had to come to that where I realized that my life went through this for a reason.
Yeah, and thank you. That's a great question. I found out that I had purpose when I was in high school, and my guidance counselor came to me. She said, "Jacari, you're not doing well on these standardized tests. You may have to stay back." And I said, "I'm not staying back another year. Well, I'm not staying back at all. I'm in 10th grade. I'm not staying back. I need to graduate it, in the 2 years because I was already a sophomore." And she said, "Well, based on your history, you never did good on standardized tests, and you were held back in the first grade. And to know that she brought that up to me, throwing that in my face, I felt defeated. I felt discouraged. But I used that to propel my future. So I was determined. And when I say that, that really set the foundation to my success and my thought and my mindset when it comes to my goals, and that I will not accept no from no one. What I decided to do was I said, hey, you know what? You thought I was going to get held back in the 10th grade. And yes, I did get held back in the first grade, which means I am a year behind. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to graduate high school in 3 years instead of 4, which will mean I will be on time, and we can scratch off getting held back in first grade because now I've made it up. So I did just that, and it was very challenging. I got a lot of no's, I got a lot of denials, I got a lot of just negative comments from the guidance counselor, just from different people. My adoptive mom didn't even think it was possible. She was like, Jacari, you're overwhelming yourself. I didn't think I was overwhelming myself. I knew my purpose. I knew the goal I had in mind. So it was okay for me. It was okay that I took 6 classes in class, and I did 13 virtual courses, and working full time at McDonald's was still being active in my community and showing up and doing those things that I'm accustomed to doing during that time, because I don't want people to think that, I was a failure or, I could not accomplish this goal. So I was able to graduate high school in 3 years instead of 4, which is essentially on time. And when I was able to do that, and my guidance counselor came back, she said, whoa, you have shook my mind. Like, you have really changed the course of your life, and you are determined. Whatever you say you're going to do, you just going to do it. And that's what you're going to do. So I took that and really ran with it, because I said, people tried to tell me I couldn't graduate in 3 years, and I was going to graduate in 4 years and possibly get held back. But I was determined. So when I did that, that was it for me. I knew from then that I could do anything I put my mind to.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I do want to talk about, your book, Lost and Found, and that's where, I really just have the question in regards to, finding success in search of self, right? So you say lost and found. At what point do you feel like you were lost? And then at what point do you feel like you were found?
Yeah, so I felt as if I was lost when I met my father for the first time in the intensive care unit when I was 13, one day before my 14th birthday. And, we were headed, my adoptive family and I, we were headed down to Orlando because we're going on a cruise to Cozumel, Mexico, since Thanksgiving was on my birthday that year. And for me to get a phone call from my father's wife and state that, hey, your father's in the ICU, we would like for you to meet him because, he may transition. We just want you to meet him. I felt clueless, confused, lost, worried, concerned. I was angry. And for me, I said, well, Mom, my adoptive mom, I said, I don't know why I should go up here when they waited 13 years for me to see him. And they didn't think to call me before this date. But, she encouraged me to go up there. So we went up there and, I prayed with him and shook his hand. And, he's much older because at that time he was like 68 years old. I was, 13. So I really, didn't know him at all. My first time seeing him. And we did look similar. And all that good stuff. And it was just, for me, it was great that I could see him, see his eyes, and shake his hand, even though he couldn't talk, because he was connected to all those machines. But then, when we left and came back from the cruise, I thought he had transitioned because that's what they was thinking too, but he hadn't. He actually had got a release from the hospital, and him and his wife promised that they would take me shopping and, be a father figure to me since he never was. So, me as a 14-year-old now, I was looking forward to that, going to the mall and going to Fun Station, just having, father and son time. But that didn't happen. And shortly after, he had passed away. And I was just very upset because at the funeral, I met all of my siblings, and it was 23 in total, whom I never met a day in my life. And I just said, wow, you all are sharing these amazing stories about my father, about him being active in the community, in the church, and just doing this and doing that. And I don't have no clue who this man is.
Did you say 23?
23 siblings, and I'm the youngest.
I thought you said that. Okay. Papa was what's the song? Papa was a Rolling Stone. 23.
Papa was a Rolling Stone. Where he laid his head.
Okay, well, okay. 23. Wow. All right. And you got to meet them.
Yeah, so I was able to meet all of my siblings. In my The thing about it is when I got to high school, because that was late middle school when he passed away. When I got to high school in the ninth grade, one of my sisters, she actually is a teacher at the high school, and I didn't know. I would see her getting off the bus every day, passing by her class. I would speak, she would speak, and she would always say, "Slow down, stop running. You know, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. Stop. Why are you late to class?" And I would talk back to her, and I didn't know she was my sister.
Oh, and she was at the school all that
And we was
time.
going to school all that time for over a year.
See, that's the part that is so crazy to me because where I grew up, my siblings could have walked past me every day and I would have never noticed. So I find that just incredible how it's just deep to me. You know how you can have family that's that, and she's chastising you at school and you talking back, and that's your teacher all this time. That's amazing. Okay.
Right. So when we found out, and I found out because I got invited to one of my sister's Christmas celebration on my father's side, and she invited me. She said, "Hey, Jacari, I know you've never been invited to one of our family events on your father's side, but I want to invite you. I want to open my house to you since we never treated you like the brother that we should have because we never knew you." So I went over there, and there she was. He said, "Jacari." I said, "Lisa." He said, "What you doing at my sister's house?" I said, "This is my sister's house." And it just went from there. So, just, learning these stories and realizing that, the world is small and that you never know who's out there who may know you or who may be relative to you. So I learned the decency of respect more, to be more respectful and to be open to people because you never know how
You
they will
never know.
impact you or you will never know if you are related or not. And I'm still meeting people every single day that's saying, "Hey, I'm your cousin." And they have, because my first thing is, "Show me proof." Because I'm tired of meeting new people. But it is a beautiful and a loving thing for me because I'm learning my strengths, I'm learning my weaknesses, I'm learning my family, I'm learning my history, I'm learning more about me. So that's why I say I was once lost, but now I am found. I found joy in myself. I found joy in knowing that I can claim my story. I can speak up about being in foster care, being adopted, and not no longer being ashamed of being in foster care or being
So
adopted.
what was that shame? What was that shame of being adopted? Because people don't understand. So when I was younger, I didn't have a father growing up because I was adopted by a single parent. So when I was younger, when I was real young in grade school, I would get really sad around Father's Day because everybody would make the little cards at school for Father's Day, and I didn't have anybody to make it for. So I used to make up stories. So I think that's where my imagination came from because I made up these stories because I never had these stories to share, right? So so my imagination was through the roof. So when you talk about that, that self-discovery in regards to not knowing at that point and being ashamed of being adopted, because I used to call myself the little black girl on the shelf, and I wrote a poem when I was a kid about that because in my mind it was like somebody just putting something on the shelf and leaving you there. You know what I'm saying? So it was that thing where I felt like I was just kind of left on the shelf and nobody wanted her. Now, of course, as I got older and I understood the beauty of being selected, being adopted and somebody choosing to take care of you and loving you, I realized that. But at that time, what did you feel in regards to not feeling like you were enough or being ashamed of being adopted?
Well, I think for me, it was one of the first things where I was like, okay, around, Father's and Mother's Day, especially Father's Day, like you said, I didn't have a father to write anything to. In Mother's Day, in elementary and middle, we would have to do these like cards and like arts and crafts. And I would always do 2 Mother's Day gifts or 2 Mother's Day cards. And people are like, "Why are you doing two? You don't have two mothers, you only have one." And sometimes I just got embarrassed explaining, "Hey, I'm in the foster care, I'm adopted." And it was one of them things whereas I would, have to go to foster care meetings and events. And sometimes I would see students and parents that were in my class. They were volunteering, being in support of the foster and adoptive youth. And they would see me, they were like, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "I'm in foster care, I'm adopted." It was just kind of hard to explain. The third reason why is because my foster mom, who eventually adopted me, her age is typically standard for, a grandmother, a great grandma. And, when she would come around, people wouldn't say, "Is this your mom?" They would say, "Is this your great grandmother?" And sometimes I'm just like, "Oh, no, this is my mom." And it just got hard to it just got overwhelming sometimes. But then I said, you know what? I'm a proud of the man that I am, and I'm grateful that she took me in um, under the mindset and emotions that she was under when her daughter passed away, and to know that she raised my brother and I, treated us like her own, took us out of town on an annual basis, sometimes 2 or 3 times a year, loved us, took us shopping, and really spoiled us. And I believe I'm the most spoiled out of everyone. However, I was very ashamed at that time. But when I realized that there were more people like me out there and that we have more similarities than we do differences, that, I don't have to be ashamed of myself, of my family, or my history, or, my story, or just being in foster care, being adopted. So now I do
Exactly.
that.
Well, and the beauty of it is that you get to realize that you were a child. And that's something that I had to come to grip. I was a child, and I think that's probably why I do so much with children today, is because it's like these are children. They are put in a situation not by their own. This is grown adults that choose to be alcoholics or choose to be drug addicts. And what was so interesting for me, and I love talking to other people who have gone through this, because for me, what was so interesting was that I always made this really beautiful story up in my mind that my mother, because it was a lot of us too, right? So my birth mother must have lost their job, and they couldn't take care of us anymore, and they had to sacrifice us for the greater good, right? That was always my mind, because in my mind I could not come to grips with the fact that somebody would just say, oh, I just don't want them anymore. Like, that was really strange to me. So when I found out the real story was that she essentially did leave and didn't want us anymore, that I had to go through a whole nother hurt all over again when you realize that magnitude, because all the beauty that you put up in your mind, that this noble way that they that you thought they loved you, and they did it for this sacrificial type thing, but really it was very selfish. So anyway, my point is that you were a child. So I think once you get to that point, you realize, hey, I didn't choose this, but I can make a choice right now. So, and that's where you're at right now on the found part and the journey to self. So tell us how you found you got onto your journey of self-discovery.
Yeah, so for me, just learning more about my family and realizing that there are more people out there, and that there is a lot of foster and adoptive youth that needs help, that needs resources, that's still looking for their families, that's still searching for themselves, and knowing that there's people who aren't in the foster care system, just regular individuals, or people who have their own situations, that have their own stories, who are still trying to find themselves each and every day. And I'm a firm believer that we all are trying to find something, find ourselves each day. And if you're not, you should, because you are better than the day you were before. So find that new thing that is making you the person that, how unique you are, and find that new thing that you're passionate about. So I believe, finding success in the search for self. I say every day we're finding ourselves and we're trying to be successful. That is the goal, I believe, that everyone has. How can I be successful? What can I do to leave my mark? What can I do to leave a legacy? So that's where I got my book Lost and Found from, and I love my debate book. It released September 15th, and we became a bestseller on Amazon. So it's really an honor to be able to open up and share my story of being in foster care, being adopted, and show how it is possible to overcome a rough beginning in life and endure a tough journey to become an inspiration to all.
And you started a nonprofit, correct? You started a nonprofit.
I
So tell
did.
us about that.
Yeah, so Families for All Inc. is my nonprofit that I started in 2018, and we really work on meeting the diverse needs for foster youth, adoptive youth, and those families and those biological parents that was affected by foster care or adoption, whether it's through legislative influence, advocacy, providing resources, scholarships, or education. We're here to help, and we've been helping hundreds of families since we've been open in 2018. We do many partnerships because I don't, for me, just growing up, and now I have 3 degrees, and just learning, so much about life and business and education and collaborating in partnerships. I don't think there is a need to always re to to start from the ground up with everything. Sometimes you can work with other people, work with organizations who's already have a solid foundation, and you come in and you say, hey, this is what my team, my organization can do to help partner, to uplift you. You don't have to always start from the core. You can work with someone and work with others and organizations. And that's what we've been able to do, to generate several partnerships all across the United States, and to be able to say that we've been able to, work with people in California to New York, and I'm from Florida, so to Florida, to just different areas, and they're able to, say my name because they know who I am or know who my organization. We're being impactful. It really, it resonates within me and others.
No, I think that's amazing. And that goes back to the village. I mean, that's what it's about. We all have to help each other. We all can kind of glean from each other, learn from each other, and help each other, right? So I think that's amazing, and at 24. And this goes back to, what I say all the time is that age is nothing, right? I mean, because I tell people when I'm 90, I'm still gonna wear my bangles, and I believe wear my bangles at 90, and I believe that a person at 5 can change the world. So this idea that that we put on ourselves these limits, right, on age and class and color, we put all these limits on ourselves, and it's like, no, we can change the world right now. So I really love your story. I love the idea that that you talk to people about being lost and found, because people, like you said, it's not just adoption, it's not just foster care. People are lost. People walking dead every day. People walking around lost every day. So to be able to, at your age, to speak to people that's around your age, I think that's a beautiful thing too, because a lot of times you have people come in that are 40, 50 years old speaking to teenagers, and I think it's nice for them to see someone that looks like them and close to their age to inspire and give them that motivation that I too can do this. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you. And also, when I think about it, I was working on this book early January, and we had plans to release in April. But COVID came, and I said, I was telling my publisher at the time, I said, I'm not going to allow a pandemic to stop my success. If there is a will, there is a way, and I am determined. I'm going to get it out there. So what I realized when I had to submit the final draft to my editor and to my publisher, I said, with this pandemic, people losing their job, and it's just so horrible. People are lost. People are still lost to this day. It's millions of people that don't have a job and that doesn't know when they're going to get the next meal, doesn't know when they're going to be able to start back working, when they're going to be able to pay rent on time. So they're lost and they're confused and they're worried and concerned. But rest assured, one day soon, we will all be found. And I tell some of my friends who are still furloughed that you may be lost in this season, but seasons come and seasons go, and your next season will be better than the one before. So it's always in the mindset. That's what I said. It starts with the mind. If you change your mind, if you think it, and if you begin writing it down and decreeing and declaring that this is what you want for your life, this will happen, this will manifest, you will begin to see those things that you speak. And if you speak negative, them negative things will come right back to you. So that's why I do my best. And sometimes, I mess up. I'm not perfect. So I'm transparent. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I get in the stage, I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. I'm tired. But then I realize where I came from, where I am today. And when I think about where I'm going, I get right back up, brush myself off, and put on my suit, and let's go. Because I know that I'm going to help someone, and someone's going to help me. So, to the many people of you that are watching, I'm thankful for you, but know that your better days are coming if you put your mind to it.
Yes, I so agree with you in regards to what we think, and just writing the vision and making it plain and just believing in what you believe in. Like, you have to walk in that. You have to walk in purpose. You have to. And that's the thing that I think that people lose sight on sometimes, is that they don't understand. But then this goes back to what you talked about being lost and found. When you understand purpose, when you understand your purpose, and what you're here for, you're unstoppable. Once you get that, once that clicks and you realize, wait a minute, this is what I'm here for, then, now you have something that just kind of, gets that wind underneath your wings and allows you to fly. I want you to talk about too, your forward in your book and how you got that to happen. Yeah, kind of explain that to the people that are watching that don't know.
Okay, thank you. So, my book, Lost and Found: Finding Success in the Search for Self, I have the foreword written by my really great friend and mentor, attorney Benjamin Crump, who's the family attorney for Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Eric Gardner, those many cases that I'm sure you've heard the name of, who, you know, resonates in your heart and your mind on a daily basis, especially dealing with the police brutality and just Black lives and just people in general. We know, you know, George Floyd in 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So to know that he was able to still write the forward in the midst of all of this craziness going on really showed me that I am loved. People are cheering me on. People see something inside of me that I don't see inside myself. Because when I initially requested from him, I'm like, oh, he's my mentor, and we talk, occasionally. But I don't know if he can do this. Let me speak to his management to see. And he said, no, you come to me, and I'm gonna do it. And can you believe when I requested for him to do it, he had to forward back to me in 48 hours. And I said, wow. So yeah, he wrote the forward, attorney Benjamin Crump, and it's a great forward. And the thing about it, what people don't know is he was able to adopt his cousin. So, adoption was impacted by him and a lot of people in his family. And it's just an honor to be able to work with him. And he actually was the first individual to give me an opportunity in the legal arena, because I'm going to law school eventually. And I was his youngest intern. I was in high school interning for him. So being able to intern for a prestigious law firm and traveling and working directly with the attorney in high school is not really known. So to know I was able to do that, and he was able to really guide me and take me along and introduce me to people and how people introduce themselves to me, and just learn the ropes, the ins and outs. And now I am a board of director member for the George Floyd Memorial Foundation. It's just one of the things, whereas this is nothing but me
That's
walking in my
awesome.
purpose.
No, I think that's amazing. And the reason why I say that is because, and I just want to make this really clear, and most people that know me personally know that my idea of success is different from others. So I see success differently, right? So I know people that make a lot of money and know a lot of people. And to me, that's not success for them, because they're very unhappy and miserable people. But the reason why I wanted to point that out, because I also believe in purpose, and I believe in drive, and I believe commitment to your vision. And the reason why I said that is because you were committed to your vision. And sometimes when we see things that we feel are impossible, right, or unachievable or unattainable, and that we cannot get to, sometimes we'll self-doubt, or we'll allow other people to put that within us, right? So I am a person that I see no limits, right? I will try anything. I will ask anybody anything. And because I have to look at it as, what's the best that can happen? What all can happen for me? And so that's why I applaud you in that, is because you did not allow self-doubt or criticism or outside forces to stop you from seeing your purpose and saying, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and send this email. I'm gonna try to reach out to him. Because at the end of the day, what, he can say no or he can say yeah. So I'm gonna walk in the yeah part and keep walking in that. So I applaud you on that.
Thank you. And the best part, because in the beginning, I had first said I don't accept no's from nobody, because I don't. And it's some things where no one should be accepting no's. Not when you know who you are and what is within you to walk in your purpose. And the reason why I say don't accept no's is because there's always a yes, and if they can't say yes, they can compromise. So I don't accept no's from no one. I haven't. I will not. And there's some things whereas I'm not going to water down myself. I am not going to get depressed, get upset, get mad at people that don't think that I am able to do this job or able to do this, because I can and I will. And you may not see it right now, but somebody else gonna see it, and you gonna wish that you gave me that opportunity. So do not accept no's. And something I posted on Instagram the other day, I said it ran in my family until it ran into me. And for me, it's just some things whereas, we're breaking generational curses. It does not matter how old you are and what mistakes you've made, what obstacles you've come through. It ran into your family, it ran into other people that's older than you, and then sometimes maybe younger than you. But it didn't run into you. And if it did, you stopped it. You put a stop to it. Because you don't want that to affect you and people that's coming, that you're bringing up and that you're mentoring and that you are advising. And I just encourage everyone to every day to speak those positive things, affirmations. Show up for yourself. When nobody gonna show up, you show up for yourself. I'm telling you, it get rough, it gets hard sometimes in just life, and it's just like, Lord, what else is there gonna be? It's just so much, and the political arena right now is just it's so much.
It's too much. It's too much.
It's a lot to deal with, and it's like, how can I find that time for self? And that's when I told myself, I'm not gonna allow no world, nobody, no human, no politician, no item, no nothing to deteriorate me and stop me from walking in my purpose.
Yes, indeed. No, that is true. And I like how you said show up for self every day because, I looked at something the other day and it said, be the person that you needed when you needed someone, right? And I read that and I was like, wow, that's deep. I like that because I'm a firm believer in what you just said. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to believe in yourself every single day. And it does get hard. Like, being courageous and taking those steps is hard. It's a heavy load and it's exhausting because it's like you can get mental fatigue, emotional fatigue. But again, when you believe in purpose, when you believe in where you are mission to go, what you have been called to do and who needs you. Like, there's people out there that need to hear your sound, your voice, your inspiration, and feel your love in your heart. So when that's motivation for me anyway. It's like, okay, I got to do this. Like, we got to get this done. So I agree with you on that.
Right. And another good thing about it is we all have a story to tell. Whether it's a comedy story, an adventure, or just a life story, we all have some type of story that will help someone. And I've met so many people speaking all these virtual events I've been doing. I've met so many people saying, I don't think my stories is as compelling or anybody wouldn't be interested. No, people would be interested if you say it from the heart. If you don't hide, if you own up to your story, you have to first own your story. You have to first know who you are and whose you are, so your story can really resonate in someone else's life. Because I'm a believer that your story and what you go through can help somebody else get to what they're going through. So own your story. It's you know yourself better than anybody. Own your story. Don't allow. And I remember someone asked me, "Well, why did you want to write your book so early?" This is just book number 1. But the reason why I wrote the book is because I didn't want anybody to tell my story the way I need to tell it. I wanted to be able to share. It's my story. I might as well share it. People have their own thoughts already. So let me share people what the facts. And I've been able to really bring a unity among a lot of people, families all across this world. I had someone reach out to me from Nigeria. I had a virtual event in Nigeria, and a family reached out to me 2 days ago, saying they're still impacted by the virtual thing that happened 2 months ago. So I'm just like, it can happen, and you don't know who's watching, you don't know who's listening. Share your story, own yourself. You're special. You're a brand. People fall in love with Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Steve Madden. But what about your name? You have value too.
If not more. Yeah, no,
Right.
yes, I definitely agree with you, Jacari. And I encourage people to go to your website here, and that's where they can order your book as well. And, I just really appreciate you for, taking the time to share your story because it's so important for people to understand, like you said, that they're not alone for one. And then also to see people that look like them, that, have gone through some things like them. That's how people get inspired. If you are a young child And, say for instance, you are a young black, young black male, and you only see, people that don't look like you who have made it or who have gone through something and succeeded, then sometimes you may feel like, you can't. So, you being out here and again, 24 years old, and I try to put too much on ages, but that says a lot at 24 years. I mean, because some of us at 24 was definitely not writing books. Okay. So, I think that's, in traveling around. So I think that's amazing. And I just really encourage you to just keep going, because I have a son that's 23, so that's just so crazy because, and he's still on his path. So I just love when young people, old people, whoever are, looking at themselves and saying, you know what, who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Because some people just kind of idly walking around the world their whole life. Is just sad to me to not have any type of purpose. So I applaud you. I appreciate you. I encourage people to buy the book. And if you have any leaving words that you'd like to leave with the audience, that would be great.
Right. Well, first I want to say thank you to you as well for letting me come on to your live and speaking to your amazing audience. And thank you to the audience for listening and talking with us this evening. I just want you to know that you are special. You are loved. We need you. You are powerful. And that your story will resonate in the lives of millions of people all around this world if you first own your story and realize that your story can help others. But I would love for each of you to please go purchase my book, Lost and Found. You can purchase it on my website, JacariHarris.com. It's below, or you can purchase it on Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble. It does not matter as long as it's in your hand one way or another. But if you purchase on my website, I can personalize it for you and give you an extra treat, I would say. We have that we mail with the books. So I truly thank you all. And make sure you subscribe also on my website. To my email. I'm giving out a lot of motivational content and things that are helping people, getting a lot of feedback on, and I know it can inspire and impact you. So be sure to purchase the book, subscribe, and share this live, share this post. Add me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Jacari Harris. Connect with me, share with me your story, and we can speak more because I know that your story is very helpful too.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacari. Again, it's been a pleasure. I love hearing stories of success. And again, success to me, comes in different ways. And to me, this is being successful when you are enjoying what you're doing. You're living your purpose. You're walking in your mission. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you for what you're doing. And I encourage people to support you and just keep going. I mean, you have so much more to do. And I'm so happy that you were able to find your family as well and get some, answered basically, so that's awesome. So anyway, have a great evening. I appreciate you, and we will keep in touch for sure.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
All right, take care. Bye. Awesome. Well, I was so excited to hear that conversation again. I really just encourage you guys to go and on Jacari's website and, support him. He is doing some great things, and we have to support each other and, build each other up. And it is nice to hear other people's stories, because they can inspire you and motivate you to keep going. You understand that you're not out here alone. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. It's nice being back with you guys again, and you guys have a great evening. All right, thanks. Bye.